Good Monday morning and welcome to Monday Musings in the Midwest. I'm Barrett Collins, your host, a retired attorney, which means I have to tell you that we're not creating an attorney-client relationship between us by you listening to this podcast, and nothing I say is legal advice. Sorry, I just have to say that every time. I'm going to start today with kind of a rant. If you've been watching, you know I like to rant. As you know, I think I mentioned, I kind of got bored, and so I decided I would go back to teaching this year, and I'm having a ball. Love the kids. Have a fantastic school, some fantastic colleagues, but I have to rant just a little bit, not on my own behalf, because I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm back at work because I want to be there, not because I need a job. I'm not happily retired. I've failed retirement, but I wanted to go back to work, and I'm enjoying that part. But where in the world did we normalize the fact that teachers spend so much money out of their own pockets to get ready for the school year? Where did that happen? I see teachers buying classroom supplies. I see teachers buying furnishings for their room. And I think a lot of it happens because teachers need some things and school systems just don't or won't or can't or have other priorities. But my question really is, where did we normalize that happen? Where did we normalize teachers spending hundreds of dollars out of their own pocket to get started? I watch some of the new teachers, and you can tell that their parents and families are helping them get the things they want for the school year. Here's what I'll tell you. The number one thing is that teachers do it because they care about their kids. They want things to go well. I mean, I'm buying things and it's fun. But where did we normalize that? Why do we think, oh, it's okay for a teacher to have to buy markers or colored pencils or paper or bookcases or whatever it is for their classroom, and we'll spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on football fields or baseball equipment? Now, I have nothing against sports. You all know I'm a sports nut. But don't we sometimes need to think about having our priorities wrong? I don't understand how we have gotten to the point where we as a society in America say, oh yeah, we're going to pay you as a teacher. Probably not as well as we should. Let's not get into that. But take that pay and use it out of your own pocket to get things for your own classroom. Where do we get that idea? I can tell you a lot of people in corporate America won't buy their own things. Will they? Where did we normalize the fact that teachers buy for their students out of their own pocket? Maybe we should start demanding in America that at least if we're going to make people educators, that we not make them use their own money for our own kids. Just my Diet Pepsi thought for the day. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. Had to say that. Let's jump into the legal side of what I want to talk about. I'm going to talk very briefly about 3 cases. There are some great trials going on, and so you're going to get a variety over the next few days. The first trial I want to talk about, no, it's not a trial, the appeal of Carmelo Anthony down in Texas. Carmelo Anthony is the young man that in 2025 decided to take a knife to a high school track meet. That in and of itself doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm one of those people that I have a small penknife with me at all times. I grew up that way. Some of us are taught that way. That the fact that he had a knife did not bother me. Some people are like that. What bothers me is that he thought it was an appropriate thing, no matter what happened, to pull that knife out and shove it into another 17-year-old's chest. Some things are not disputed. Carmelo Anthony was at the track meet. His victim, Austin Metcalf, was at the track meet. They were all under the tent of Austin Metcalf's school, and Austin Metcalf wanted Carmelo to leave. Those facts aren't disputed. Carmelo said something to Metcalf like, touch me and see if I'll do it. I'm not exactly sure the exact words, but made some statement to him, to Mr. Metcalf, touch me and see what happens. Had his hand on his knife in his bag. And I think Austin Metcalf hit him or shoved him or pushed him. I don't care what it was. And Carmelo took the knife and killed him. He's guilty. He's been found guilty. He has appealed that, asked that the judgment be recused, which was granted, and I don't see a problem with that. The judge, a week after the trial, said, and I couldn't figure out why he did this, did a TV interview where he said, hey, I think the jury got it right. Probably shouldn't have done that. I think what the judge honestly was trying to do was calm all the rhetoric down, because there was so much rhetoric on this case. Sadly, only really on Carmelo Anthony's behalf, and we forgot that he had murdered somebody. Anyway, judge was removed. That's fine. So they bring in what is called, in many places, a senior judge. Usually that's a retired judge. You can retire from the bench and stay on the bench where you take special cases. They brought in a special judge who did that. Held 2 days of hearings over the last week, and I think it was on Saturday his opinion got issued as to whether or not Carmelo deserved a new trial. And the judge said no. No new trial for Carmelo Anthony. Now, Carmelo can continue his appeals, but you got to win at the first stage. Let me just tell you, if you don't win at the first appeal, it gets very, very hard to win as you go on. So Carmelo Anthony is, at this point, not getting a new trial. He did get a new judge, a fresh set of eyes, and that fresh set of eyes held 2 days of hearings and said, no way, Jose. What was really sad is because of that hearing, we found out a lot more about both these young men having some unsavory things in their past, which I'm not going to go into because they're not really important. But Carmelo Anthony is still a convicted murderer. He did not get a new trial, and he'll continue his appeals. Second trial, which I am watching and fascinated by because it's part of my youth. 30 years ago, Tupac Shakur was a rap artist and was shot in Las Vegas, Nevada, and tragically died. Never been solved. Well, this week, a man by the name of Dwayne Davis, also known by his street name, gang name, whatever you want to call it, of Keffe D. I always find these gang names hilarious. These are people that are trying to be so tough. And this man's name is Keffe D. I don't get it, but hey, that's okay. They can go by whatever they name. Keffe D is on trial. Well, Keffe D has written books and done podcasts and done all kinds of things saying that he was part of the killing, that he was, I think he even said he was in the car. I don't think he said he was the trigger man, but he was in the car the night that Tupac was killed. Said it for years. He's now on trial for that. I mean, I don't know why they didn't bring him to trial a long time ago. He wrote a book, or was part of a book, where he told what happened that night. And now he says none of it was true. He was just making all that up. For 30 years, he was making all that up. So he is on trial for the murder of Tupac Shakur 30 years later. Can you imagine how hard that is? It's an interesting trial. If you're a prosecutor, your best witness is the defendant and all his statements, all his published, written, recorded statements saying what happened that night. And now he's at trial saying he didn't do it. We'll see what happens with this one, but I'm kind of sitting there going, man, if he doesn't get convicted after 30 years of saying, hey, this is what happened that night, it's going to be interesting. I mean, he didn't just say it once. He said it multiple times. He's told people what happened, or his version of what happened. And he's innocent until proven guilty. I've got to say that time and time again. All these people are innocent until proven guilty, but that's an interesting case in Nevada, and I'll keep you updated on it. Final case I've got to comment on. I've gotten loads of questions on Lindsay Clancy. Again, I'm going to say, and take this the right way, please. I'm trying to be delicate. My heart breaks for these children and the family who has lost these children. But if Lindsay Clancy's trial puts more focus on postpartum depression and the issues that come with that, if it puts more emphasis on women's health and especially women's mental health, they will not have died in vain. Let's just say, look at that, I'm going to tear up. I have a lot of people asking me, what would you vote, guilty or not guilty? I'm telling you, I'm still on the fence. Now, I did say last week, if I was a prosecutor, I probably would have not brought this case, because there's a lot of really good evidence on both sides. And the prosecution rested, the defense rested. Now, the prosecution gets one more bite at the apple. They get to call what are called rebuttal witnesses, and that's where we are. And the first rebuttal witness for the prosecution was a Dr. Mack, who was asked to look at this case and see what he thought. It's interesting because this case has so much notoriety that I've seen pro and con on Dr. Mack. Let me just say this. Kevin Reddington has a 50-year track record as an attorney. I think he's a really good attorney. I think he's a good attorney because he doesn't go to histrionics. He doesn't get upset and angry. When he does, it's appropriate. Really good attorney. I'm saying that right up front. Dr. Mack, I think, is a very knowledgeable man. And so the clash of the two of them in cross-examination on Friday made me smile. Dr. Mack was holding his own. And I've heard people say, oh, Dr. Mack, Kevin Reddington just ran over him. No, Kevin Reddington did what Kevin Reddington was supposed to do. And as an attorney, you ask these very short, blunt questions, and you don't want the witness to say more than yes or no. And the witness was saying more than yes or no, which was what he was supposed to do. And on occasion, the judge would let the witness say more than yes or no. The witness was doing what the witness could do to explain its answers and not get cornered by a question that probably led you to the wrong belief. And Kevin Reddington was doing what he was supposed to do. So I had some people ask what I thought about it. What I saw was, I want to call it kind of a clash of titans. I thought both of them. I thought Dr. Mack and Kevin Reddington were doing exactly what they needed to do in that time. There's just, in this trial, there's so much back and forth. Did she take her medications? Okay, if she did she take them the way she was supposed to? She was prescribed a lot of medications. Well, she was going to a doctor and describing symptoms, and they were changing her medication based on what she was saying, because that's what doctors do in mental health. It's a sad situation, and I see it both ways. So no, I don't have an opinion. I don't know. I told you I, as a prosecutor, would not have brought this case. I would have tried to come to some resolution where Lindsay Clancy was getting the help she needs. It's my understanding that she's in a hospital. She's still on suicide watch. She's still constantly observed, which would drive me nutty completely, just to be watched at all times. I don't know. We have to finish the prosecution. Prosecution said they were going to call 3 rebuttal witnesses. The first one, Dr. Mack, I think will continue on the stand Monday morning. Maybe the other 2 witnesses we can get through on Monday. I don't know. So that would put closing arguments on Tuesday, if that all works out. So the jury may have the case by Wednesday. Maybe not. If they've got 2 more witnesses and Kevin Reddington goes after them like he did the first ones, fantastic. It's just a trial where everybody's doing their job. The prosecution isn't flashy. Kevin Reddington isn't particularly flashy. I think he's appropriately aggressive when he needs to be. I would have fought bringing this hearing. That's all I have to say. And the only thing good that can come out of it is that we're having a conversation about women's health. That's it for this week. It's been an interesting week. Like I said, there are several trials that are slated to start. We're going to find out. It's not this week, or I think it's next week. The judge is scheduled to render his determination on probable cause in the Charlie Kirk assassination. Mangione goes back to court sometime very soon, and we'll find out what happens with Lindsay Clancy. There are a couple of other really interesting cases that are firing up, and again, I'll talk about those next week. But if you've got questions or you have things that you want me to talk to you about, please throw them in the comments. Shoot me an email. My email's connected to both YouTube. If you see me on Facebook, you can write me a comment on Facebook. I try to address the comments I get because I get some comments from people. I'm glad you're enjoying this podcast, and I will be back to muse on Monday in the Midwest. Again, I'm Barrett Collins, your host, and goodbye for this week. Have a great week.